Morning, guys. Been a little while since I did anything relevant to my thought process here. So hopefully I can deliver some content that's relevant to what you guys have come here to expect today, because I think I might have something that's very interesting. I know a lot of you guys probably watch Sonny Decree. He does offer a lot of value, and it's wonderful to watch somebody who's totally optimistic about Bitcoin, and I do enjoy seeing the maximalists out there, but I also enjoy the idea that there's a lot better solutions than the ones that we currently have, and so participating in the alts is definitely something I won't stop doing, even though I do realize the significance of Bitcoin. That being said, Sonny Decree did a video today about Deutsche Bank. They're going down for the count. It's beautiful to see, and I think Sonny's just as happy to see it as many others, because everybody, his thing is to short the banks and long Bitcoin, right? Which is, I can understand why, and he did his video as to why he hates banks, and his direct relation with any banks actually taking advantage of him. He didn't share any stories of that to that effect. He just his understanding of how banks function in society and how they don't really add value, which I think everybody in this space totally appreciates. And one of the things he brought up for those of us in this space that we need to watch is The Big Short. Now, that movie is good and all to get your head around how the last financial crisis happened with mortgage-backed securities and collateralized debt obligations, and how debt, repackaged and resold as an asset can create a lot of problems. And one of the things that The Big Short, those of you that understand CDOs and MBSs and how the financial crisis came to be, I think you need to go back further, and it would be a huge consideration for you to analyze mortgage-backed securities and how they came to be only after mortgage electronic registration came to be. When mortgages in this country were no longer required to be written through your local municipality on a piece of paper that had to transfer whoever owned it on a piece of paper through a county clerk, and that was transferred to what was called the Mortgage Electronic Registration Service, it was one of the first blockchains. Like credit cards, it was not a real blockchain, but it was a database that was not any government regulated entity. All it was a place where they could register mortgages electronically. Well, with that being said, how else do you think they bypassed having to register mortgages in a physical place with a physical person on a physical piece of paper? They created mortgage electronic registration in order to have your mortgages written in a place where they could slice them and dice them into onions and tomatoes and then repackage them as collateralized debt obligations or mortgage-backed securities. Mortgage-backed securities and collateralized debt obligations could have never even have existed prior to mortgage electronic registration. Look up mortgage electronic registration and understand blockchain technology isn't that defined. It is new, but going back to Bill Clinton and that era of the late 80s and 90s, the foundation of how so much of the fucking sludge and scum and scams came to be in the legitimate world of investment came to be through mortgage electronic registration. I think it'd be an awesome opportunity for people in the space to go look into, to understand how potentially crypto could be no different than the same scam that we live in today. Now, I didn't want to spend so much time saying that, but I really feel adamant about how the mortgage electronic registration and the lack of understanding of it really is why people are still fucking playing in mortgage-backed securities, and we still have the fucking mess that's 10 times as big, and why Deutsche Bank is doing what it's doing. But more importantly, I wanted to speak to Sonny and the blood that runs through his veins. I find it very, very liberating and very, very inspiring. And the reason is, I'm going to share with you right now. This is an article I read right after I saw Sonny's video, and I don't know how it came to be that I read this article after I saw Sonny's video, but being that he's a Swissman, I think I owe it to him. So this is about Switzerland, and it's by Eric Margolis, and it goes like this. The title of the article, A Fortress Disguised as a Country. Morgarten, Switzerland. Here in 1315, a force of Swiss mountaineers ambushed an invading force of Austrian feudal kings who had come to reassert Habsburg feudal rule over rebellious Swiss. The burly Swiss farmers and woodsmen from the forest cantons of Unterwalden. I know I'm really destroying your language, probably as much as you destroy the English language, Sonny, forgive me. But the burly Swiss farmers, and you represent the burly Swiss farmers, brother, and woodsmen from the forest cantons Unterwalden, Uri, and Schweitz fell upon the close-packed Austrian knights and men-at-arms using long pikes and deadly pole axes known as halbards, and massacred them without quarter. 2 years later, a second Austrian expeditionary force was caught by the Swiss peasants' infantry near Lucerne at Sempach and crushed. These fierce battles were the first time in modern history that foot soldiers had withstood heavily armored mounted knights. These epical encounters marked the beginning of the end of European feudalism and the rise of infantry armies. They also freed Switzerland's forest cantons of Austrian rule, creating Europe's first independent democratic state, the Swiss Confederation. Praise be to the Swiss brothers. The always astute Machiavelli said the Swiss warriors most heavily armed, said of the Swiss warriors, they are the most heavily armed, most free. Indeed, the most free to this day. I'm jealous of you, Sonny. Those who think of Switzerland as a quaint land of cuckoo clocks and chocolate are sorely mistaken. To paraphrase Voltaire's Bon mot about Prussia, Switzerland is a giant forest disguised as a country. I attended the school and university in Switzerland. Over the decades, I kept hearing about mountains opening up to disgorge warplanes or cliffs studded with hidden artillery. But even my Swiss friends didn't know much about these seemingly fantastic sightings. 15 years ago, I was a guest at the Swiss Fortress Guard Corps, a top-secret military outfit that operates Switzerland's mountain fortresses. I was one of the first non-Swiss to be shown the mountain forts that guard the heart of the nation's alpine redoubt. What I was shown astounded me and continues to do so. Listen to this. In the late 30s, as one European nation after another bowed down to Hitler's demands, the Swiss military and its popular rifle clubs banded together and decided their nation would not bend the knee, as the Czechs, Dutch, Norwegians, Belgians, and the French had done. The feverish program of fortress construction was begun across the Alps. Some 900,000 troops were mobilized. Orders went out from the General Henri Guisan. Leave your families behind in the lowlands. Man your mountain fortress. Man our mountain forts. We have no place or food for civilians in them. Fight to your last cartridge, then use your bayonets. No surrender. It's fucking liberty, man. Every road and bridge was mined. All mountain passes were rigged with explosives, particularly so the rail lines and tunnels that linked Germany to its erstwhile ally, Italy. Hitler was furious. He denounced the Swiss as insolent herdsmen. Mussolini, Hitler's ally, rightfully feared tangling with the tough Swiss mountaineers who had ravaged Italy during the Renaissance. The Pope's Swiss Guard are a memento of the era of Furia Helvetica. Working 24/7, Swiss engineers created a warren of tunnels and gun positions guarding the main entry points into Switzerland at St. Maurice, Gotthard, Thun, and Sargans. I do not know how to enunciate anything. Make fun of me all you want. These forts were equipped with 75, 105, and 150 millimeter cannons, machine guns, and mortars, emplaced in mountainsides and camouflaged so they were almost invisible. Inside the forts were barracks, engine rooms, headquarters, clinics, observation ports, magazines filled with shells. The hidden forts interlocked their fire and support one another. Unlike the less heavily gunned Menin line, each fort was protected by a special infantry unit on the outside linked by telephone to the underground garrison. In addition, Switzerland built bomb shelters for most of its people. The Swiss only began decommissioning their forts in the 90s after the collapse of the Soviet Union. And this goes on, put it this way. I'll just go to the very end of the article. When Swiss mountaineers vote, they always carry rifles and swords as a symbol of When Swiss mountaineers vote, they always carry rifles and swords as symbols of how their freedom was attained and preserved. God bless your people, Sonny. God bless your people. Thank you for being who you are and what you do in this space. Hopefully I give you something that you like. I've got no way of concluding this because what's on my mind right now is all the supplies I have to buy. This weekend was good. I had a long that I bought at 11.9 I finally got out of with just a minimal loss, which I'm very happy about. And it's all fake. I'm happy about fake money. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening to my garbage. Hopefully you guys can get Sonny to watch some of this and give him some praise for having the blood that he does run through his veins and sharing that energy with those of us in this space. Thanks.